How's it going, my dudes? It's me, your best friend Gaby the Baby, and today we're going to be talking about the thing in the title. If you can't read, it's Wasteland. Created by Jonni Philips. Can someone play the intro?
You like angels, guardian or otherwise, if only address you with shimmering voices when you're in distress. And the so-called potent love from up above ain't even enough to put a wrinkle in your dress. Well, I digress.
You want to know a really good technique of animating? Draw out each key pose and then do the in-betweens. This way your character won't go off model and everything will stay the right size. This is called pose-to-pose animation and has been used for years. Now Jonni throws all this out the window. Characters will constantly go off model, the number of fingers on their hand will fluctuate, and normally I'd be annoyed with the lack of consistency, but here it's just so present, so extreme, that it really adds to the experience. Nothing is even slightly anatomically correct. I'm leaving the stutter in because it's funny. The style brings a sort of childlike wonder that contrasts heavily with the serious and sometimes somber themes at play, but we'll get into that later. Both Goodbye Forever Party and the final exit of the Disciples of Essentia are both animated with pencil to paper. It is then cut out and placed upon a multiplane to give a sort of illusion of depth. And illusion it does. Even though you can so clearly see the characters' shadows being cast onto the background, it really does feel like they're grounded in a 3D space. The Earth is Flat uses a similar technique, but instead of pencil to paper, Jonni drew out each frame digitally, printed them out, and then from there it's the same process. Dr. Sam Mulaney's Burden is entirely done in digital, and sadly kind of loses a bit of charm found in the other episodes. We Are All Dying in the Wasteland changes styles depending on each character's point of view, most of which are also digital. Look, I could gush about this web series animation for an eternity. It's just so original. But nay, we must keep moving. So let's discuss Wasteland's music tends to be very simple. Most of it seems to just be someone improvising on a synth. That isn't to say that there's no more complex tracks, because there is, such as Going Away Forever and Wasteland Ballad, both performed by the very talented Dylan Canner, or On a Day Like This One and Hold On Sailor by the also talented Jenna Caravello. I hope I pronounced that right. But sometimes the sound effects leave something to be desired. Once again, this isn't to say that sometimes Wasteland has great sound effects. The out-of-tune trombone used in Goodbye Forever Party really does reflect the stress of the main character's mental illness. But at other times, it kind of seems like sound effects are missing. All episodes of Wasteland give off a sort of uneasy, isolated feeling. Each episode has a different message that it conveys, and they all come to a head in the final episode. So I think the best way we can unpack this is by going one episode at a time. Also, a lot of these are left up to interpretation, so nothing I say is fact. Here we go! Essentially, this short film follows the main character coming into contact with three other characters: a performer in a coffee shop, a bozo on a train, and her dog from the inside of her very own bathroom.
That's a really good take, Gaby Tides.
Sure, thank you. Both the coffee shop performer and the train bozo have conflicting opinions on the Earth's shape.
I love the globe Earth. It's real and I gotta get it.
The world's flat.
This causes the main character to question her reality. Crazy. So she hops on a hot air balloon to see for herself whether the Earth is flat or round. She's astonished to see that the Earth is in fact flat. And then some wobbly synth plays and her eyes are all like wah, 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 wah. So, what does all this mean? Well, here's what Jonni had to say, quote, "So this project started out with me trying to convey a vague, uneasy feeling I've had for my entire life," end quote. Now, this uneasy feeling, from what I can gather at least, is that what if something you know is right all your life turns out to be wrong? I mean, imagine thinking it's pronounced Gabe TYJ all your life, but it turns out to be pronounced Gaby Tige. Pretty scary, right? Once again, I'm no expert, I'm not Jonni, I could be completely off, this is just my interpretation. Here we go! Goodbye Forever Party follows the main character, Lilith, an actress for famous children's show The Scrumbos, which is kinda like a twisted Teletubbies, as she struggles with a mental illness that causes both auditory and visual hallucinations. This makes her life a hell of a lot worse, because she also has an awful boss, has to break up with her girlfriend, and has to deal with her awful roommate. This sends her deeper and deeper into depression until she gets fired for not coming to work for 6 weeks. Work was the last thing keeping her in that town. So, after she gets fired, she hops on a plane and leaves. Her mental illness worsens and her therapist isn't much help. So she gets a driver's license, buys a car, changes her name, and goes on a hike. Sounds like a perfect day to me. It ends with a dream Lilith is having, where all of the Scrumbos go to bed, and she pops out of Yambi. That's who she used to play. And then she just walks off into the distance, mimicking a scene from earlier in the film.
Damn, boy, he's sick!
Once again, what does all this mean? Well, thank goodness, Jonni Philips has actually provided this film's meaning. That makes my job a heck of a lot easier. Quote, "To me, it's about being a person who has trouble connecting with the world around them because of their own emotional limitations and the way their mind works. It's also about even when you try as hard as you can to get better or leave something behind, sometimes you just can't." End quote. Wow, that's deep. I couldn't say any more myself. Mostly just because I'm tied up somewhere in Puerto Rico being forced to read the script exactly. Please send help. Here we go! Dr. Sam Mulaney's burden follows the titular character, Dr. Sam Mulaney, and her burden. Essentially, all that happens is Dr. Mulaney finds a sausage in one of her patients' eyes and obsesses over it. Like, middle school crush obsesses over it. Like, friggin' has creepy wiener dreams about it. But eventually, she just throws in the towel, forgets about it, and continues her job. What I think this one means is that you can try and obsess over something to try and give your life meaning, but really, sometimes a guitar is just a cigar, and it can be hard to accept that. Imagine how sore an eye wiener must be. We Are All Dying in the Wasteland focuses around 3 different characters. 2 that we've already seen, and the one that will be seen again in the next short film. The characters just kinda go about their lives. Somehow it feels so real, but also so over the top at the same time. I love it. The meaning of this film is in the title. We are all dying in the wasteland. We all have problems that makes our lives miserable. No matter how different our lives seem, we are all in the same boat. Wow, being an optimist, it is really weird hearing that come out of my very own mouth. This beautiful, beautiful film. Before we dive into the themes, I just want to commend Jonni Philips for such an ambitious project. A 45-minute film, almost entirely traditionally animated, that took almost 2 years to animate. I'm assuming on again, off again, due to all the videos uploaded between, but that's enough gushing for now. Let's talk about the final exit of the Disciples of Essentia. It begins with the titular character, Essentia, being unable to sleep. So she goes on a walk and is confronted by an alien. The alien is like, hey, so we made babies with a bunch of humans and you gotta collect them and bring them back to us, and then you can come chill on our home planet and stuff. Essentia agrees, and we get to see a montage of our main character, Amy, later to be renamed Celise's life. Most of it, shocker, turns out to be sad. Long story short, she joins a cult formed by Essentia, trying to get all of the alien children back to their home planet. And she makes a friend, Mira, and they have music fun times. Skip forward a while and Essentia's like, the aliens said it's time to go. So they go, but not before stopping at a gas station. In the gas station bathroom, Mira's all like, so I think we should go. I don't think there's aliens, they're probably just gonna kill themselves, we should head out. So they book it, but an alien ship catches them and they're treated as slaves on the aforementioned alien planet. And even though this alien planet was so hyped up, sadly, it's pretty much the same as the Wasteland they used to live in. Pretty much, in this ending, everyone's sad. Including Essentia when she sees that what she thought to be gods, worshipping a god of their own. For the final time in this video, I will ask, what does all this mean? To which I say, isn't it obvious? Sometimes no matter how hard you might try to get a better life, it might just be futile because life is life. Whether you're on an alien planet or living with your abusive, long-necked, redhead roommate with 172 unrelated illnesses. Overall, Wasteland gives off a feeling of isolation, not feeling like you belong, and not knowing your place in the world. But hey, once again, just my interpretation. I'd love to hear, or more appropriately, read yours in the comments below. I'm implying that you should comment your interpretation. I don't have a transition. In conclusion, Wasteland is a very amazing collection of short films that has an animation style that I, at least, have not seen anywhere else. It has some existential themes, but also sprinkles some comedy in there. It's a beautiful animated meal. It's just so good. If you haven't watched it yet, what are you still doing here? Go! 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 Oh, hi! Thank you so much for watching my video. You can follow my Twitter, Instagram, and all the other stuff. Most of them are probably Gabe2IJ. Sorry for the upload schedule recently, this video took a while. Anyway, that's all the time I got. I gotta jump on out of here. See you in the next video. Whee!